Hey guys, before we get into the show, I wanted to let you know about our new agency data brill. We have custom technology that allows us to manage sponsored ads for large Amazon accounts for all the main markets. Also, we have developed tools to give us the ability to bring on board larger brands with thousands of SKUs covering all the main pain points and barriers companies normally encounter when getting onto Amazon at scale. So if you are a large brand wanting to get onto Amazon or looking for a scalable PPC solution for your Seller Central account, then get in touch with me directly via danny@sellersessions.com. Hey guys, welcome back to Seller Sessions. Again, we bring back Taylor Benterud. How you doing, Taylor?
Good. How you doing?
Good. Okay, so big news is that Vendor Express is closing down. The skies are not falling.
Yeah.
Talk to me about AMS, because obviously anyone with a Vendor Express account who's maybe sneaked in through the back door with their products can no longer use it. But there isn't all downside. So walk me through it.
Yeah. So CNBC released an article a few days ago. It was like big news. CNBC released it. Basically, they stopped issuing orders on May 21st. Okay, so you can no longer send in basically units to Amazon on May 21st, which doesn't matter because most people listening to this probably never send in orders. But they entirely shut down the program, Vendor Express, on January 2nd, 2019. Now, we don't know for sure. We think that they're going to start terminating accounts and like emailing people and saying, hey, you need to terminate your account, your Vendor Express account, which means you'll lose access to your AMS. And so what we're doing with all of our clients is we're trying to get them into Vendor Central. So if you are a big seller and you've ever been approached by Vendor Central, you can reach back out to that rep and they'll be able to get you into Vendor Central and you won't lose anything to do with AMS. So that's fine. But if you don't have that privilege of getting into Vendor Central, then what's going to happen is you're going to have to shift over into Seller Central. And again, you're probably thinking, well, product display ads aren't in Seller Central, but in Q2 this year, they're supposed to be there. And when that happens, you should be able to shift over all your campaigns into Seller Central, which will be ideal. So It's not all that bad.
And so one of the sacred things in terms of setting up, everyone knows about headline search ads and they're highly used and sometimes they're difficult to convert depending on the category and stuff.
Yeah.
A lot of people have been utilizing product display ads and that's created a good advantage. So do you see that coming in the same format coming over? Do you think there's going to be much of a change in terms of conversion, structure, the engineering of it?
Yeah, it's all the same. I mean, the headline search ads when I released it in Seller Central, it was the exact same, except there was a little bit less reporting. It was a little bit limited on reporting. And as well, they had some glitches and bugs, which are now fixed. So it's the exact same. Reporting on headline search ads now is almost the same. You can't download a keyword report. And product display ads, we should expect them to be the same. But I would say there's going to be some bugs and glitches in the first month of when they're released, more than likely.
And how do you think you'll be able to manage the shift over? So you've got current campaigns that are running. Yeah. How are you going to take a snapshot of that data and basically set it up? What will your take there?
So we're super fortunate. We have software that basically goes in and every single Tuesday and Saturday, it just bulk downloads what every single keyword bid is at in our account and the campaign names, everything in the whole account. So we have archived saved drafts. Now for anybody that's not doing that, obviously most people aren't doing that. What you need to do to be able to make a smooth transition so you don't, kind of lose all your data and just terminate your account. One, you need to download the campaign performance report, which is that little button that's above all the campaigns in AMS. And then there's also there's a keyword report that's available in AMS. There's a sales report. You need to download all those reports. And I would start doing that on a weekly basis so that you can see what bids all your keywords are at and what all your, you can have all your campaign names. And that way, when you transition into Seller Central, you'll have these reports. You can send it over to a VA and say, hey, these are all the keywords that were in this campaign. This was the name of the campaign. Here's all the bids they were at. Here's all the match types. Go in and launch these. That's it. So you just need to make sure you download those reports and you'll be good to go. And I would probably recommend to start doing that within the next at least couple months. Probably once product display ads are released, that's when you should probably start taking initiative and start doing that.
I mean, I suppose one of the things you can do, because even though they're probably not that responsive, I don't think I've got much joy out of my Vendor Express account, is probably a good time now is to start contacting the reps to get some feedback, to find out what's going on and saying, look, if you're doing some serious numbers and you're not just sneaked in through the back door.
Yeah, exactly.
You know, can we get an invite, or can I speak to the manager of Vendor Central and start moving over? Because there are going to be people out there that maybe has a lot of stock running in there, and it's going to be key for their business.
We asked a question to one of our reps for our clients. We said, hey, we're actually wholesaling 500 units a month to you guys for a couple products. Yeah. Does this qualify for us to move into Vendor Central? Because we want to continue to sell you guys these products. We don't want to sell them via FBA. And we're waiting on a response on that, but I would imagine they're going to let us in because it's a decent amount of units and it comes to a decent amount of chunk of change for them. So yeah, if you are actually wholesaling units, or maybe you're planning to, I mean, go to them with the amount that you're selling to them and try to persuade them to let you in, because it'll be way more beneficial for you to keep the lifetime history of your data opposed to transitioning into a new platform. So that's my thoughts on it.
That makes sense. But then you're going to get people that are caught between the stools, haven't you? You've got the sacrificial lamb products where you've got in there to access to use AMS for other products. Yeah. But then you've got to look at, well, what happens if you can't sell them products no more and they've got a reasonable sales? The biggest problem you're going to face is that Amazon has their hooks in the listing. So then you've got to try and get the listing back off Amazon, and that can prove difficult. One of the tricks that you can use is it's called catalog contributions.
Cool.
What you do is you contact the catalog team and you ask the catalog team to remove catalog contributions, which is basically their way of saying release this listing back into whoever. Right? It doesn't guarantee it every single time.
Right.
We've seen this before. Like we had a product that we sell successfully in the UK, and my business partner, Luke, put it through Vendor Express in the US. So he put it through Vendor Express. That was the world's worst thing to do, because what happened then is that they started to take over our listing in the UK and the market. Yeah. Then we deleted the listing. Then it kicked off with Vendor Express. Then we started to lose our rights on the listing. So even when it was just completely caused a massive mess.
It's chaos.
And the only way we could get that resolved is we spoke to someone. They said just ask for catalog contributions to be removed, and that dealt with it. But it took a few attempts, because obviously you get the wall, don't you? Yeah. So, you contact Amazon and there'll be 2 or 3 people you'll go through, and then you have to keep raising different tickets in the hope that someone maybe on the US side will pick it up. Or you get them on the phone, for instance, and suddenly the door's open. So,
and just to say, if you ever do find a good rep, get their name and get their personal Amazon email and like their phone number and everything you possibly can, because it's so hard to find. But when you do find one, normally they're open-minded enough, or they're willing to actually give you their whatever Amazon email, so you can contact them more direct instead of trying to open another case with a random person. Yeah. Probably saved us like hundreds of hours just from like opening terrible cases. So highly recommend that.
So as an agency yourself, are you just reliant on a handful of reps, or have you got a lot of reps that you deal with because you're dealing with the various different clients that you manage?
It's a handful. Like they get really annoyed when you start asking them questions about other accounts that they're not supposed to look after or look for, because there's supposed to be a dedicated rep for at least accounts doing at least $250,000 a month. I don't know if that's their benchmark number, but all of our clients that are doing above that range in revenue do have their own dedicated reps, whether we know it or not. It was like 6 months down the road with a couple of our clients, we realized that, hey, Johnny is your rep. And we're like, oh, great. How are you doing? Like, we've probably submitted a million support cases in the past. We didn't even know you were here. So you may not know you have a rep, and you could even, if you're doing a decent amount of sales volume, you should reach out and be like, hey, do I have a dedicated rep on this account that I don't even know about? That's also another thing. But it's a mix. It's all over the place.
Cool. In terms of, obviously, because the skies are not falling, we've discussed all the opportunities that laid out at hand. We've got, did you say May 21st, everything shuts down? So people know what to do in terms of contacting, trying to get their listings back, moving over to Vendor Central if possible, by hook or by crook. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. May 21st is when they stop issuing orders, I believe it is, yes. And January 2nd, 2019 is when they officially shut down the whole thing.
Oh, right. So you've got lots of time
You
ahead.
got lots of time. But here's the thing. Just because they stated that in an article, I mean, it's Amazon. Like, I really would be very careful and be very aware on what they're doing, because I think from the moment that product display ads get introduced into Seller Central, they're going to start trying to push people off the boat and get them to terminate their account. We've already received emails from them saying, please terminate your account. We're shutting down Vendor Express.
Yeah.
And we've responded with, hey, how much time do we have? We're trying to figure out how much time they're going to actually give us. But the article said, January 2nd. So with caution.
Yeah, but I mean, still now, what we've got 8 months left in the year or so. I think that's plenty of time to get yourself prepared.
100%.
Is there anything new we should be chatting about?
Yeah. Honestly, the biggest thing I wanted to say, probably coming on here, was that like a lot of people, from what I talked to, there's some people that mentioned me, like, headline search ads for average cost per click going up because it's been introduced to Seller Central. Honestly, when we started looking at the year-over-year ACOS levels, so like this month February's ACOS across this account, all the campaigns, same products compared to last year, so it was actually lower for a lot of our accounts. Mm-hmm. And it's been that way for January and February. And so just as like a big, hey, if you think that it's really had a major impact, I would say it hasn't. We're in a wide variety of categories, from beauty to supplements to outdoor equipment to the whole thing, super competitive to super niched. And across the board, we're still seeing really good results. I think it's a mix of the fact that we have a lot of different strategies we use, but it's also a mix of the fact that we're just, doing it. I think a lot of people are just kind of not really actually utilizing to the full abilities. The second thing is that probably, and I said this on the last call, and I'm just going to keep saying it until people actually start catching on and start doing it. But target by related categories, product display ads is probably the most underutilized, top performing, low hanging fruit campaign strategy that we use. Literally take your top performing products, set up 5 different campaigns, $20 budgets, test every single one they allow you to test, because they only allow you to test the related ones. They'll just automatically tell you, hey, you only have 4 related categories. Yeah. Even though out of the 4, if one doesn't look related, just test it. Literally just go in, test it. If it doesn't work for your best end product, try it on your second best. Eventually it will catch on, and then adjust your bids as necessary. But that thing it's been crushing across the board for clients for 6 to 8 months now. And it just blows my mind that when I come into a new account, people aren't testing it. It's ridiculous.
The thing is, if you've got a product and it costs $20 and it's popular and everyone's paying $5 a click, the reality is it's never going to be profitable or probably break even.
Of course.
It doesn't matter what it is. And I think that's where you've got to be careful of when people say, yeah, no, it's too expensive. Well, you've got fish oil or you've got a spatula and you're gone into a market and you've got, say, a Me Too product that they all look the same. The only differentiation is price. Everyone's trying to fight for the top of the search for visibility. Yeah. The reality is no one ever wins. Only the person with the deepest pockets will. Yeah. Who can afford to burn that is already selling organically. And doing well is already on that page. Does that make sense?
No, it makes total sense. It's some basic math for people that are brand new sellers, or you're doing $1 million a month and you're considering selling a new product and you're concerned about if PPC response product is going to perform well. One of the things that we do is client launches a new product. We say, hey, what's your margins? 35%. Let's just say 30%. They're going to sell the product for $50. That means they're going to make on average around $15, if I did my math correct there. $15 profit per unit sold. We know that on average, a decent unit session percentage is about 10%. Pretty good is about 15 to 20%. And then you get really good conversion rates around 25 to 45%. We've seen really high. So if you know that your conversion rates, a decent conversion rate is 10%, 1 in 10 clicks on relevant keywords should convert, right? Your margin's $15. That means you can't spend more than $1.50 per click on certain keywords. Just as a starting bid. And so when I come to people and they're like, yeah, we sell a spatula and our profit's about $4. I'm like, dude, not a chance. Conversion rate's 10%. That means we can only bid 40 cents. We're not even going to win the placement.
Yeah.
right? So you just do some simple math and you work it out in your head, thinking, okay, well, like I have to have a killer conversion rate on this spatula to be able to even come close. And I must have really good margins. It's got to be like a golden spatula, right? Like, so yeah, what you said is so sound. So it makes so much sense. And I think a lot of people, if they looked at it from a mathematical standpoint, it would be very clear to them that, hey,
I think I always say is that should be part of your product discovery.
Sourcing, discovery. Yeah.
Because what people do is they go, right, there's my budget for PPC. They call it a budget.
Yeah, it's so ridiculous. I hate, oh God.
But you don't go, well, how much of that budget we use? What is your real margins? I think it's one of the most difficult things because it's a moving target for people, or they don't have the budget to say, or don't want to invest in, say, software. They're trying to run spreadsheets. Nothing's in real time. And they've got software working out the calculations per SKU.
Yeah.
It will make it difficult on your business. And I think that's what happens when new guys come into the market, guys and girls, whoever, come into the marketplace. And they understand, right, I need a really good listing, great images and stuff. And quite often they get to that stage, it's like, well, I can't do a repress now. I've run out of budget. And that's always the danger, and it should be factored in at the very beginning. And this is why people use an array of stuff, whether it's doing giveaways, with or without coupon codes, on and off platform, driving third-party traffic. All of these attributes matter to build the composite whole.
Yeah, and like super cool strategy you can use when you're sourcing products. I don't know, like in sponsored products, but there's the suggested page one win rate bid, I believe it is, or suggested bid. In AMS, they have what is called the suggested page one win rate, or just suggested win rate. And they tell you, hey, if you bid between this, and this, you're going to win the ad 25% of the time. And if you bid this high, 90% plus. It's pretty cool. And so clients are sourcing products, and we're like, hey, we'll put in some keyword system campaigns on the main keywords for this product you're thinking of sourcing and see how much on average the cost per click is to win the number one placement. If that makes sense. And if we see it's like $1.50, we're like, hey, this is a massive green flag. You're going to sell this product for $28. You got decent margins, and it's only $1.50 to win the number one placement for a headline ad on the main keyword. Yeah. We're like, if it's $18, which I've seen time and time again, like super high, and you go and when you search the main keyword, there's $1 billion company selling the product, they're just blasting it. I mean, like, you got to go into that knowing that you better have an unbelievable, listing page that converts really well, and your ads you're not going to be able to pump ads on headlines,
So what would you suggest a strategy for guys that are out there that are using headline ads, in terms of they're in a competitive category? What kind of strategy would you use there to obviously use the main keywords if you're looking to break even or be profitable?
Yeah. So we've, I guess I won't say the product. We have a client that sells a really competitive product. I guess it doesn't even matter if I say it, but if he's listening to this, I won't say it. But like main keywords, we can't win them. We still do about $80,000 to $100,000 a month, like at 18% e-cost. And all like 80 to 90% of the sales come from words with keywords that have 3 to 5 words in them. Yeah. And so it's like focusing less on the short tail, more on the long tail. That sounds so basic, but that would be the most important thing to consider is, hey, less on the short tail, which is 2 words, I would say. And the other strategy, very practical strategy you can do is take the most relevant seed keywords that you have, the number one, like most competitive words, break them down into individual words, bid on the individual words. If you're selling a tennis racket, bid on the word tennis, 77 cents, $25 budget. It's likely going to crush it. I think you've seen this. Brian Johnson, he calls it, there's a word here.
Panning for gold, I think he calls it.
Gold panning, yeah. And we actually still use that in our nomenclature. We call it GP campaigns, just for short, for gold panning. Very simple strategy you can use. PDA ads, target related categories. I just talked about that. Targeting by interest. Again, I would say if you're very competitive, I should have said this. For that particular client, 60% of the sales come from product display ads. Yeah. Very, very unusual. We don't usually see that much of the sales coming from product displays, but because the headlines are so common and it's available in Seller Central, big companies that have it and care about advertising will use it, but they don't use the product display ads, and nobody even knows how to use them. And so you can really do some massive damage. There's a competitor, we stole probably $100,000 in sales from them in 2017. It was just from this one competitor ASIN.
Yeah.
They don't even know, right? We're just on their listing 24/7 all the time, and it's because nobody else is on it, and they're like the number 2 in our category. And since nobody's crushing them, we're just constantly like just destroying them, stealing like $8,000 a month in sales. And so if you are in super competitive space, do the longer tail keywords, and then also just hammer down on product display ads, because those things will crush most of the time if you're selling a decent price product. I always say this, lower price products with product display ads are very hard to achieve low ACOS in a profitable ACOS for you. Higher price products in $28 to $30 plus range, and especially if you get up into the hundreds, product display ads should be like at like less than 10% almost all the time, we've seen.
Cool. Before we shoot, anything else you would like to quickly cover?
I think that's it. I don't know. I think that's it on my end, dude. I'm just pumped for 2018, and just pumped for the merge into Seller Central. I think it's going to be really cool.
Excellent. Sounds good. Guys, thanks for joining us. Taylor, actually, before we go, how can people reach you?
Taylor at betterams.com, or just via email. That's
Excellent.
it.
Sounds good. All right, guys, thanks for joining us. Taylor, thanks for joining us. We'll be back again soon. Take care.
Thanks so much for having me. Ciao.